Curse you, Orbit, and your half off sale. Hello, welcome to this book haul for May. So, once again, got quite a few to go through. I'm really trying hard to not buy new books, but you wouldn't think it. So let's start off with these two were lends / gifts. When I get together with my husband's family, books get passed around quite a bit. So I lent them the Persephone book that I had, and I got The Body by Emma Bryson, because I was kind of in the mood for a lighter non-fiction read. I'm pretty sure she said I could keep this if I really like it, so that's cool. Both of You Might Adult Parks. No idea, it's a thriller. I thought this would be a nice little palate cleanser. Like, thrillers, not one of my go-to books, but I will read them, so I don't know, I might take this on holiday and as an easy read. We'll see. So Vinted apparently isn't just clothes, it's everything, and people put books on there, and it's very dangerous because I have found that I can just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll looking at cheap books. So I ended up getting Remote Sympathy by Catherine Chidgey. I pointed this out in my Women's Fiction Awards video. I thought it would be shortlisted just based off the blurb alone. I was wrong on that. It's actually not got through to the shortlist, but I was interested enough anyway, and it was secondhand, so it's cheaper, always a bonus. So it was probably maybe not quite half the price it should have been, but only because you've got to pay for postage. So there's that. Your Body Is Not Your Body. A new weird horror anthology to benefit trans youth in Texas. So this crossed my path on Twitter. It was a crowd-funded book with some of the proceeds going to trans youth in Texas. And I really liked the concept of having a lot of trans authors coming up with horror stories. No, I don't know when I'll get around to this. Maybe... Do I wait until Halloween? There is the whole concept of, like, halfway to Halloween, and, like, summer camp horror stories, so maybe I'll slip this in July or something. We'll see. My cat is just on the chair, and she's got the microphone next to her, and the books are now just piling up in front of her face as she gets buried in books. So now we get on to the stack. This month was May the 4th, as Americans say, and people like saying it that way because they call it Star Wars Day. And very randomly, for Star Wars Day, Orbit decided to just make all of their books half price for the day. So it was probably about 11 at night, an hour or less to go before the deadline. And I was just scrolling through books on Orbit, which is dangerous because a lot of my TBR is on there. So there's one book on here. There's one book I bought that hasn't arrived because it actually turned out to be a pre-order for a paperback version. So I'm going to get that in August. So maybe that will appear in a future haul. This is what I got. The Future of Another Timeline. Annalee Newitz. Author of Autonomous. I feel like I should know that. Look at that. It's a really eye-catching cover. And then on top of that, it has a quote from Kelly Sue DeConnick, who I absolutely love. Her version of Captain Marvel is what got me into that character. Well, actually, no, it's not. That's a lie. I really kind of liked the character, but then she sort of reinvented it a little bit. So yeah, I love that woman. So if she's going to put a quote on something, I'm probably going to check it out. So this is about time traveling, but I think the threat is that people will use time travel to like undo women's rights that we've sort of like progressed with. So they want to undo that work. I'll just read the blurb for you. In a world that's just a step away from our own, time travel is possible. But war is brewing. A secret group is trying to destroy women's rights. If they succeed, only a small elite will have the power to shape the past, present, and future. I did debate if this was going to end up being too much of a bummer. I really feel like when it's this kind of topic, it can go either way. I will either really love it and dig it, or I will just be too bummed out by it. Kind of like Handmaid's Tale. I watched an episode of the show, appreciated that it was very well done, but not for me. There are too many threats to rights where we are right now, so I don't need any more fictional ones. So I was worried it might be a bit like that, but we will see. At least it looks like it should be quite short. 350, that's a good amount of pages, I think. Moving on. Oh, here it is. Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. So back in December, when I was doing my big book haul, and I was just like buying up every book that I wanted to treat myself, this was one where if I saw it, I was going to grab it. And weirdly, I just didn't see it. I think we found it a couple of months later, and at that point, I was less bothered. But half off. Like, all of these books were ended up being a fiver. How can I turn that down? I think if the sequel was in paperback as well, I'd probably just go buy it as well. Maybe it's for the best that I've only got one, because I have recently been disappointed in a book, so I was glad I only got the first one. But this, I've only heard good things, so please don't let me down. I've not read any John Gwynne yet, so I'm really excited to try this. Please don't let me down. I will say I was actually surprised that. Oh, okay. So I kept thinking when I eventually did see it in person, this looks way smaller than it did on other booktube channels. Like, when I've seen people holding up this book, it looks huge. It looks massive. This is 478 pages, so it's about the same as Kings of the Wild. However, looking at it, the font's quite small, so that might be a UK publishing thing where they've tried to fight to keep it under 500 pages. Because it's just a neat little size. But I'm sure every time I've seen it in the US, at least, it looks huge. But anyway. Oh, and that cover. It's so cool. This might be one to have face out on my shelves. We'll see. No, this is a chunky boy. The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. Look at this. Look, where's the blurb? Just with its vibrant setting and grand scope, The Shadow of What Was Lost marks the debut of a major new talent in epic fantasy. What's it about? Is it actually not a blurb? Is Is it not a blur? It's not a blur. Like, I'm laughing because I was going to say, this is a book I keep seeing, and the cover's really nice. And I'm like, I have a vague awareness that I've heard good things. I've definitely put it on my Storygraph TBR at some point. So it's on my to-read list anyway. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, but I can't remember what it was about. I have no idea. It's an epic fantasy, and that's it. Like, this book publishers, like Orbit, thank you for doing the sale. However, please tell us what books are about. If I picked this up and I'd not seen it before, I'd put it back down because I have no idea what I'm getting into. Just quotes on how amazing it is. And, like, these are the ones I don't trust. Fans of Robert Jordan and Brandon Sanderson will find much to admire. Firstly, I love Brandon Sanderson. Secondly, I'm 2 books into Wheel of Time, and I don't know how I feel about Robert Jordan, so that doesn't help. And also, look, I was a kid in the 90s/2000s. I was there when every single book I picked up had a quote saying, if you like Harry Potter. It's like, no, it would have nothing to do with Harry. There would be no similarities. I remember this book, this fantasy book that included unicorns that kill people, which, okay, was a really cool concept, but like the whole book was nothing like Harry Potter other than the fact that there was magic. And this was the trick that publishers did back then. Everything had a fucking Harry Potter mentioned somewhere on the book. Like, it doesn't help. Like, maybe books should start being like fanfiction.net and AO3. Like, start giving us tags. Give us like the trope tags, and then that will tell me, you know, gruff man who grows soft around this small child and has to take her under his wing. Oh, really? Oh, it's just, yeah, I'm in. Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent. I really hope I enjoy this because the covers are nice and I want to be able to get the whole collection. See, that was restraint. I could have got the whole collection for half price, but I settled for the first. Because I have no hesitation in dropping a series if I'm not enjoying it. And finally, Everwinter, The Rage of Dragons. I feel like this is a series that was popping up on BookTube a lot last year, I think because the sequel came out last year. I don't know how many books are out yet. But I heard that this one was like really dark. There's a guy who just has to go through a lot of shit. And yeah, I just heard good things. Okay, at least this one has a one-line tag. A world caught in an eternal war, one young man will become his people's only hope for survival. Game of Thrones meets Gladiator in Everwinter's Rage of Dragons. A novel that started as a self-publishing sensation has become one of the most acclaimed epic fantasy debuts of recent years. I forgot it was originally self-published, so that is really cool. I always love seeing that. Because I think in the early days of self-pub, that was always like a fear where if you self-publish something, then publishers would somehow just lose interest in it. Except for like Wool. Wool was like the one success story, and then some WhatsApp things. Sorry, I keep tangenting today. I do apologize. I don't know if the tone will be for me. If it says Game of Thrones, like, did I like Game of Thrones? I'm so sorry. I'm obviously in a chatty mood today. Me and a proper chatty Kathy. So yes, we will see. We'll see if it's a bit too dark for me. I was getting ready to wrap up. this is why I start with digital books first. So, there are some digital additions to this. This is sort of like end of April, start of May. I got sick, and I was craving a revisit to Midsummer, originally called Kaicho wa Midsummer. So I bought all the volumes of that digitally and read the whole thing. It's just one of my favourites, and it was so nice to actually get to the end of that story because the anime only covers about a third of it. So that was one digital buy. Was there any others? If I think of what else I purchased, I'll post it here. Turns out I forgot about a few, so I also picked up Senlin Ascends by, is it Josiah Bancroft? I heard it had a disappointing ending, but I'm intrigued enough by the concept to give it a go. I'm pretty sure it was like on sale on Kobo, so I bought that there. Also on Kobo, I got books 2, 3, and 4 of the Murderbot Diaries, because I'm hoping to read some of them on holiday. And finally, it wasn't really a purchase, it was free on Kobo. I picked up Dracula so that I could catch up on Dracula Daily, which I hope to talk about more in the future. But if there's nothing, let's go to the final purchase. That is the entirety of The Witcher, because the absolute mad lads put the whole collection of The Witcher on Amazon for 99p. I'm trying to wean myself off Amazon when and where I can, but I can't turn down The Witcher for 99p. So there's that. There's the whole thing. I unfortunately it was like a one-day thing. Otherwise I'd link to it down below and tell you all to go find it. But shout out to my friend who shared that in our WhatsApp group. Thank you very much for that. Oh, so there it is. That's the collection right there. Like I said, the Orbit books were all half price. So even though I had one more book that's not on this stack, it was like 20 quid for all of them. Like, that's 20 quid to get a bunch of books that are on my TBR. That's amazing. So I'm not too mad at myself for splurging a bit this month. Because basically I think everything I've bought since December that hasn't been read yet, I think is probably enough to do me for the rest of the year with this added on. We'll see. Did you buy anything cool this month, or even borrow something from the library? I am always happy to hear about a library haul. Chat to me in the comments below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!